You're listening to Prep Insider Radio with your hosts, Tommy Morris,
Good. This is nothing to do with State Creek baseball. I'm sorry, but have you seen a series of Fortunate Events?
Christian Pedersen,
I mean, I'm out here grinding. I'm putting in hours. I'm getting there at 5 a.m. to cheer on the water polo team at practice. I'm showing up to our basketball team. I'm showing up to our football games. We don't even have a football team, and I'm supporting that.
Noah Laxina,
And Noah Laxina's number 3 tip for Valentine's Day is...
Chill, man. Things are going to be all right. All right? You don't want to force it. Let it happen. You're going to be all right.
and Bodie Da Silva from Scorebook Live.
I mean, he brought basketball into that one. I got to give him 9 out of 10. I like that.
We got to bring Bodie Da Silva into this one, so we'll give this show a 9 out of 10. I'm Christian Pedersen, and Noah Laxina is also joining us for this episode. Tommy Morris, you heard him in part 1 of today's rants. He's exhausted. He needed to take a little nap, so he is all tuckered out now.
Once you get it all out your system, you got to rest a little bit. You got to recharge.
Exactly. I'll give you guys the cliff notes of what you might have missed, both as the listeners and as Noah and Bodie from Tommy's rants. Is he feels like it's time where we just let people do informed consent, that if they want to play, let them sign stuff, let them get out there and play. He doesn't understand why CIF can't give the green light to golf, cross country, some of those sports right now, if he is legally allowed to go do them as a private citizen. And the rest of it boiled down to, I think that he has been alone too long and had too much time with his thoughts, because part of his rant was let everybody who wants to come back for a 5th year come back for a 5th year and play in a league of only super seniors. And I don't think that that's a realistic thing, and I don't think that that's something that even an evil movie villain would try and come up with. But yet Tommy was in here on our show legitimately screaming about how there needs to be all 5th year super senior teams for kids that want to stick around for the senior year. But back in the a little bit more grounded reality, just to remind everybody, beginning of this week, CIF at the state level came out and said, we are pushing back until January 1st. CIF San Diego section came out and said, we are following their guidance and we're going to do everything we can to make this happen. But with both statements, it came with the caveat of, we ultimately, though, are waiting for guidance from the state. So, guys, I wanted to get some reaction to you about exactly how you kind of see what's going on. I've been on record a lot saying that, CIF's between a rock and a hard place because they're not the ones canceling anything. The state government is just not saying anything, so CIF has to be the bad guys saying we're going to push things back, and the other side of their equation is liability. And if they rush everything back, they're the ones liable for everything. So Noah, let's start with you as you gear up in the cold weather with your nice beanie there that you got going on.
Beanie season.
It's beanie season.
Honestly, I was looking at myself and I was like, damn, my hair looks messed up. Let me get a beanie.
But Noah, you're the most recent high school graduate of anybody in here, so I think that you have a better connection to what the kids are actually going through right now. You've been doing college via Zoom, so you're cooped up. You're going through this a little bit with everybody. Maybe put us in the mindset of the younger people listening to this show.
I think coming from the athlete's perspective, it's not necessarily this being the only thing that's going wrong or like that could be troubling during this time. I feel like it's a collection of things, and this is just the big knockout, like the big potential knockout punch at the end of it, because there's so much stuff that's going on and school has been so hard. I know personally it's hard for college students to pay attention in class in general, but let alone be online. And for the kids, I'm sure in high school it's even harder for them. They're so used to having that I want to say a mandatory social time, I guess, because you have a nutrition break and a lunch, and that's like where you have your time to socialize with your friends. But now in Zoom, you're kind of just focused, you're cooped up in the house, and it's just a collection of things, along with I might miss this season that I've been working so hard for. So I see these pushbacks and these potential elimination of some games as just the kids saying this too, this on top of everything else that's going on. So it's really hard emotionally I feel like for everybody, because the coaches want to play, and the parents want to see their kids do well. They don't want to see their kids unhappy, but the circumstances are what they are right now. And
you bring up something interesting, Noah, and I don't have much more than like anecdotal evidence from talking to random teachers and administrators on Twitter about this, because I don't know where we would get all this information, but I would be curious how the grades are doing for a lot of student athletes, because I think a lot of people, their instincts would be, oh, Zoom school's probably a little bit easier. Oh, they've got more free time to do their stuff. But I feel like as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking about a lot of those kids that are like, they need to get out and just shake it out for a couple hours and get all that energy out. Or they need that coach walking around at stretch lines going, hey, you turn in your history assignment. Like, I cannot have you getting a D in that class if you want to play football. Like, I cannot have you getting that. Or that group of cross-country kids that are inexplicably reading AP Euro books while they run, because the cross-country kids tend to be nerds, but it's okay, we love them. Geniuses, yes, the future leaders of America. No, but the fact that I think for a lot of the base level, you see, oh, it's more time to do school, but I would be curious about how actually grades are doing without sports, because I would wonder if there aren't a lot of kids who are not quite as dialed in and not quite as engaged because they don't feel like they have to, because, I'm not going to be ineligible, whatever, F this class, I'm not going to write this essay or whatever. And also they just don't have that guidance of that adult at practice being like, get your ish done. You got to stay on top of this. The horrible cliche that I can't believe I'm going to say, but the life lessons aspects of football and other sports like that. That's something that I would, if any teachers or admin are out there willing to share some more evidence and or numbers for that, we would love to hear that. Bodie, you are always a pillar of professionalism, and I would love to hear you be unhinged and deranged in an angry rant right now, but I'm assuming we'll get something rather logical and contrite from you.
Yeah, you just brought up the academic point, and as we're working through our team previews, hopefully for a season, some of the coaches I've talked to, that's come up, and I know some of them have said, well, this time's been good because they've found that their kids have really been active in the weight room, and have kind of, with the season would have wrapped up at this point, they view it as almost an extra year that their kids have gotten stronger and bodies have matured for 17, 18-year-olds. But some have also talked about, like what you just said, and the lack of accountability of not seeing them every day at practice, and have just kind of gotten lost in the shuffle of, do I really need to do this class? What's the end goal that I'm trying to work for? And look, I can't say that overall grades are down, but definitely some of the coaches I've talked to throughout the couple sections have mentioned that has been a big factor, and they've seen kind of a trend that it's definitely hurt them when they're only accountable through a computer screen and not being able to talk and mentor and see them in the hallways and see them at practice and stuff like that every day.
What are we thinking right now, best and worst case scenario? I mean, the January 1st start date is certainly, I think, optimistic because,
to say the least,
because it's ultimate. And this is, again, I mean, I will say it again and again and again. State is in an impossible situation because they don't have the ability to compel anybody to do this. They can't say, Westview football, you need to get out there and play that week 1 game against so-and-so, Eastlake cross country, you need to run that race. They can say, hey, whoever would like to participate, we have our season organized and we have our dates, but there's so many steps in between that happening. But they jumped on the grenade of, we're going to get rid of state playoffs. We're going to move everything back. We're very section specific. We're going to make sure as much time is allowed for this. But I still think January 1st is incredibly optimistic to think that virus numbers will go down, to think that vaccines will get delivered fast enough, and to think that the state would care enough that Governor Newsom would say, oh, you know what needs to jump to the front of the line? High school football. That being said, I don't want to go the other way, though, because Tommy was saying that he doesn't think season 1's going to happen at all and that season 2 is going to be shortened. I don't want to go in that direction either, but I would be curious where you guys feel like best and worst case scenarios are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the negative person, but at this point, I'm kind of leaning to how Tommy is, and I don't want to take it further. I mean, if we get to June and no high school sports have been played, it's not going to be a shock to me. I just the further we go, I kind of feel more and more that way. Now, saying no high school sports, if at some point an announcement is made where these teams are not cleared to play with whatever state guidelines, we're obviously going to see maybe these teams go to Arizona, like kind of how they already have in club levels, maybe just slightly more organized within their teams. But best case scenario, even if there's some way to get clearance, I still think you're going to find a ton of districts opting out. Um, I was kind of disappointed. I mean, to me, I don't think I can place any blame on CIF because they have to operate at the state level and they can only hand down guidelines from whenever state does. But the fact that there were supposed to be guidelines that were coming out for youth sports 2-3 weeks ago and then they shelved it, I just don't understand why you couldn't have put that out. It doesn't need to be a start date, but at least let athletic directors, administrators, districts know, hey, when we are cleared to play, this is what needs to happen so people can prepare. Is it has to be when vaccines are? Is there a 3-week or 3-day-a-week testing? Like, what are these regulations that were agreed upon and then put back and not made public? Like, that's what I would have liked to see at this point, just to show these schools and districts, hey, this is the gateway to getting back on the field and the court.
Noah, where's your mind at? Best and worst case scenario.
Like absolute best case scenario, I think the season gets shortened a little bit more. I don't know, like I wouldn't say like any specific like amount of games reduced, but I feel like best case the season starts like at a later date. I don't think it'll start at January 1st for sure. I think it would have to be pushed back a lot, and maybe you could get like a handful of maybe like league games only or something like that. Because at this point, the way I see it is what's going to change from now to January 1st. I don't think a lot's going to change as far as numbers of cases. And, as of right now, San Diego's still open, even if there is a lockdown. I don't see the numbers going down anytime soon. So, and then worst case, I agree with Bodie. I think there's a chance that I wouldn't be surprised if there's no sports played. And it's a harsh reality. And, I like to piggyback on what Bodie said about the preparation that they've done, giving us guidelines and stuff like that. I think the alarming thing is that there hasn't been any definite expectations for what like we could do. There's no like proof of preparation for this. I feel like that's what the scary part is all these parents, all the athletes, it's a lot of unknown. And it's not their fault because no one knows how to prepare for this. But at the same time, it's wanting to see that extra effort in, okay, like this is what we can do. These are the possible scenarios. And I feel like that's not really the main focus on their mind right now. So it's kind of it's disappointing, but it's what it is.
Disappointing, but what it is probably the simplest way to understand. Like, that's how we're going to have to explain 2020 to our kids. It was disappointing, but it was what it was. I'll say this. I think best case scenario is mid-February is we get a 5-week season. We start at Valentine's Day, basically, right around there, with no state playoffs. Everything's already scooted back, cut the season in half. I will say worst, but also best case scenario, because it would just be chaos, is that both seasons 1 and 2, like all sports happen same time. And we get something where just it's going to be like, oh, are we going to get 3 weeks of a football season and then give spring their whole season? Well, no. Well, yes. Well, no. And then somebody just decides, okay, well, what if we push this back to like middle or end of March and are able to do this where enough vaccine and enough numbers have happened, health-wise, that we can safely just be like, with all of the precautions taken and masks and everything, we can have all the sports happen. And then everyone just has to pick. What are you going to do? Are you going to play one of your 2 sports, one of your 3 sports, 2 of your 3 sports? I mean, it's going to be anarchy, but that's kind of where my mind is at, both best and worst case scenario, is that CIF wants to make this happen so badly that they will just say, sure, everybody have your season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if there's any chance we know CIF, I mean, financially, they need to have playoffs. They need to get back out there. If there's any chance, we know that they'll be out front and trying to get something to happen. So
I will be curious also what the long-term fallout from this season will be. Obviously, we've seen people like Mikey Williams have left and some of those bigger ones, but I think that some more discussion around them allowing kids to play club. Was that Rule 270 or whatever that is? I don't remember the number of the rule.
The exact number.
But it's one of those where, you can't do the club at the same time. I think that CIF is going to see a certain chunk of student, because right now recruitments and commitments are still happening. It's not like there's been an entire drop-off. We're close to 400 kids here in San Diego who are committed to go play at the next level. I think that AAU basketball and club baseball and a lot of those sports are going to be a much more, as Noah gives me for some reason a clappy emoji. I think that some of those sports are going to be a much more, they're going to be things that CIF can't ignore and just arbitrarily have a rule that has to be another whole season of it, because you want to retain that top level talent at the CIF level. And I'm assuming you don't want to have it be like the way that the NBA G League is now fighting with college basketball for, don't go to 1 year of Kentucky, just come play in our developmental league. And I don't think that you'd want to ever have that happen in CIF. So I think that it's going to be interesting how the permanent changes might affect the structure of high school sports to just be a little bit more flexible. Maybe I think flexibility is going to be one of the big takeaways from all this. But then again, what do I know? Because
what does
anybody know anymore in these days? What I do know is that I'd like to end this show on a happier note. And
I'm all for that.
I'm all for that. Well, you're not going to be all for it in the direction that I want to go, Noah. But I want to go with fun stories of awkward first encounters with new family members. So like Noah.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to hear. We cut it.
No. I want to.
Give you an interesting story.
No. So I want to ask this. I want to ask it through this way. I'm not gonna put you quite through the meat grinder,
okay,
Noah.
Go ahead.
But I always thought it was funny and interesting, like the number of people that would want to be like, oh, Valentine's Day is coming up, so I got to get a date. Like, are there certain times of the year where it's better or worse to be starting a relationship? Because you're like, do you need a requisite amount of time to have been dating to go to a Thanksgiving together and not have it be uncomfortable? Do you need, is there a strategic way to be like, yo, low key, just after Christmas is the best time to ask somebody out, because then you don't have to buy a ton of presents. You don't have to worry about, well, do we go to my family? Do we go to your family? It gives us all this leeway. So Noah, I would like your generalized input, and not your specific life examples unless you would like to share them with us. Just your general life input on Noah Lax's top 3 tips to when to start a relationship.
Oh my goodness. Hey, start it when you're ready. Don't worry about the seasons, but I would say a good time would be before, because this is holiday, right now is holiday season, right? So Halloween just happened, Thanksgiving, Christmas. That's a good little lineup. To, have things to do. I would say, yeah, you put me on the spot right now.
All right. No. Hey, look, like I said, I wanted to do something a little funnier and fun. And I'll say this. I'll say this.
I'll say, go ahead. Okay, I got something.
I jumped in deep with Coach Simons in the middle of summer, and I thought it was perfect because I did not have to. I have a ton of respect for Noah, having in the beginning stages of stuff, family time. And I think that it's things like that I have a ton of appreciation for. So anyone out there that's listening, we'd like your horror stories of first interactions with family members who eventually became in-laws and you learned to love them and all that kind of stuff, but that the initial reaction was not necessarily the best timing on your end. Noah, go ahead.
I got something. I want to hear these recruits that have, that they're committed to play, if they had any funny, interesting stories with in-house visits. or like, the first time they met coach, did like pops or mom say something that you're like, whoa, like why did you just say that to the recruit who's trying to give you a scholarship?
Okay,
offer?
yes,
Like, that
deal.
would be hilarious.
All right, no, I'm gonna add that. We got one a couple weeks ago. I'm scrolling back, trying to think who it was, but they were saying that they thought they were being pranked, so they hung up on the coach.
You're playing me. You're playing
yeah, no, but like because it was one of those where like the school was on East Coast time, like the college was East Coast, and we're obviously out here West Coast, so the college called like at like 6 a.m, and the kid was like, yeah, no, like, okay, whatever, man. I hung up. Yeah.
Did they like
called immediately back when they realized what was going on and took the offer.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. It's good to know.
Yes.
It's good when it has a little. It's good when the ending's good.
Actually, you know what? You bring up an interesting question. Do you think in-house visits will ever happen again? I would be curious. I would love to talk to a recruiting side of this aspect. Because I would assume maybe for like the biggest of the bigs, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't like, do colleges ever need to spend another dime on recruiting going
when
out?
in doubt, zoom it out.
Bodie, are you getting any sense on that?
I mean, just my personal opinion would be, I think it would continue. Now, maybe not that you need to have the head coach in, but like you could have an assistant if he's in the region. Maybe he hits 4 or 5 homes in a night or something. But no, I think it's a fair point. I definitely don't think there's a guarantee. I mean, the biggest thing we just got to get back to is being able to get the kids on campus, because right now, even with them taking their own visits, they're not able to interact with the coaches while they're there, and that's just.
Don't you feel like a bigger part of the recruiting thing now, though, is because I see Tyler Buckner doing this a lot now, is shouting out the other kids
that's huge.
Going to Notre Dame. And like, to me, that's become a huge thing in the last 2 years, is not so much like the prestige of fill in the blank school. This is where, this alumni, like UCLA basketball does not recruit on the strength of John Wooden coached here 56 years ago. They recruit on the strength of, who are the other kids going here, and hit them up for what clout on social media and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I think going at that point, I mean, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, it felt like making package deals in recruiting was rare. And now it feels like you read some of these interviews and, wherever he goes, I'm going. Now, oftentimes it doesn't always work out, but
yeah, no, we're not, this isn't USC and Bow Wow. And
no, but they want to, I mean, they know each other from these camps nowadays. You don't have to even play in the same state. You create a friendship. You're DMing back and forth. Maybe you're connecting on social media, and they would say, how awesome would it be if we play together? Now, oftentimes it doesn't work out, but I definitely see what you mean, and think that that's a huge factor. And just some of these edits nowadays that I mean, feels like some kids are posting edits 3-4 times a day that these schools send out. So definitely having someone on your staff that can make some graphics, and they're always trying to push each other to be the best.
It certainly looks different than it used to.
That's what a time, huh?
What a time. What a time.
That's like marketing. That's like advertising.
Yeah, I saw one on TikTok from the Buffalo Bills a couple of days ago that they gave their like one of their water boys a hype video. And it was no, it legitimately, no, I'll send it to you.
Like the player throws the bottle like over his head and he's like,
yeah, it sounds absurd, but if you give me 10 seconds, I'll see if I can find it here.
You see someone's mask off and he tells them like, put your mask on.
No, you're
right there. That'd be a highlight. That's the first one on my highlight tape.
All right, so
the other day we were thinking,
I'm gonna show it to you.
It takes so many people to run a successful NFL organization. It takes great players.
Can you guys hear this or no?
Coaches, a great training staff, but for some reason, the players are the only ones who get hype videos, and we think that's whack. This is Dave. He's our water boy, and we decided to bring him in to make him his very own hype video. We built him a set. We got everything all ready. He filled up his water bottles, and it was time to rock and roll. So the other day we were thinking.
Yeah, that's the absurdity we've reached on some of these levels. Let's start doing that kind of commitment videos for kids going to play water polo at schools here in San Diego. It's kind of absurd stuff, and you can obviously tell that we have nothing actual left to talk about because we are in this weird. Can you guys believe it has been almost 9 months without any sports played in high schools in San Diego or California? Yeah.
It's too bad.
It's absurd. It's stupid. It's outrageous.
Can't make it up.
So what do we do? Do we switch over to doing do we switch over to doing Madden and 2K or what? We got to have something going on weekly now. Noah, is 2K still popping, or you're off that?
I'm still down. I mean, I'm finishing school, so I'm gonna have time.
Yeah, once break happens, we gotta figure out something.
Oh yeah, we could figure something out.
Deal. We gotta bug Tommy to buy us a PS5.
That'd be that would be crazy. Oh my goodness.
It wouldn't be outside of his realm of things to do in his life, though. Tommy Morris is moving into a house in Del Mar in the next couple of months, and he was talking to me today about how he's trying to bribe his tech guy who's installing all of his TVs and stuff to get him a Xbox One X or whatever the new Xbox is off of the back of a truck somewhere. And Tommy's that kind of guy that he might show up with a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox One X or whatever what is the new Xbox? Is it One X or what's the? Yeah, it's gonna be fun watching him get us all swagged out for Christmas and or Hanukkah and or whatever we need. If you guys have anything that you ever want to talk about, SD Prep Insider on Twitter and Instagram. We will continue to be here every single week until high school sports either just get permanently canceled and we have to become a pro sports show or not. Any closing notes, you guys? I feel like we kind of got to everything.
Just stay safe.
Yeah.
Control what you can control.
It is what it is.
Don't let the cruel world hurt your energy. Protect it.
Stay positive. How about that? Stay positive. That's the spirit. If you guys need to stay positive, hit up Noah for good beanie tips because I'm sure he's got cold weather. Cold weather always better for swag. You can wear so much cooler layers.
Yeah,
you
could layer up. You could layer up.
Yep. So much.
I'm gonna send you guys an outfit tonight.
Oh.
I'm not going nowhere though because I'm staying.
So how about this? Tonight we will make we will Friday night dress ups for the rest of the season. In honor of football season, we will go formal Fridays for the rest of the year. We'll put that on Twitter at SD Prep Insider on Twitter and Instagram. Formal Fridays, you down?
I'm so sorry.
So mediocre at that today. So mediocre at that today. Well, you're not apologizing for anything because this isn't live, so you're going to be apologizing for nothing for the people that hear this afterwards. Bodie, you down for formal Fridays with us?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Posting that on Twitter and Instagram right now.
Sometimes when you dress up, just to dress up, you're not even go nowhere. Feels better.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
if you're wearing scrubby clothes all the time, it's I feel I'm just in my scrubby, but it could boost your energy up a little bit if you put some nice clothes on.
Well,
or you put that good jersey on. I know you have that jersey where you're like, ooh, I feel good right now.
For me, it's whenever we do an interview or something like that, I will put on the nice shirt on the top, and then I'll be like, do I really just want to wear sweats right now? No, I'm gonna put on everything, and then immediately after the interview is over, I'm like, that was a waste of time. I'm gonna go back to sweats because it's cold. But yes,
hang it back up.
Exactly. Well, then that gets me into a whole other thing of I never know whether or not to do laundry after I've worn a shirt for 9 minutes worth of an interview.
Right.
I don't think I should, but then I'm like, this feels against my nature to put something that has been outside of the closet on my body back into the closet.
Well, now all the outside dust has been on it, so it's like...
And I'm a dusty person. You are absolutely right, Noah. I am a dusty individual. And we even got Bodie to laugh at that one.
That was a good one.
Bodie, how's your dog?
She's good.
This is the first time that she has not made a Zoom show appearance in a minute. So we just wanted to double check.
She's within range, but she operates at her own rules. So
deal. Yeah, her snoring into the microphone was always a pleasant addition to the show. You can follow Bodie at SD Preps on Twitter and Instagram. He is the official Scorebook Live reporter for Scorebook Live California. They are doing preseason reports on the top 50 teams. Bodie has assured me that at least one San Diego team has made it in there, despite his best efforts to go Southern Section, sell out as full as he can. Noah Laxina is Noah Lax _2017 or Noah Lax 17 on the different social medias. You can hit him up because he is a fashion icon and a man of positivity. Real Tommy Morris is the nutbag that we did not allow to be part of this show, but you can always hit him up because he's becoming the angry old man of our group. It is really fascinating. He hits 30.
You know that what is that, like insurance?
You turn it into your parents. Yes, I made that. We all see it. We all see it. Blue hair. Blue hair. Yeah. The only thing we're missing is Tommy doing one of our interviews on speakerphone. You're right, guys. We totally should do that. Yes, Tommy is becoming our dads. We've already had the Kurt Hines thing that he's a young Kurt Hines, and yes, it's where we're headed. Tommy will be no sleeves, with Tommy Jr. and Tommy Jr. and a very athletic. Like he'll be girl dad 101, right? Like he'll be like his daughter will be the most athletic, like lacrosse, basketball, whatever sport she chooses, and Tommy will be out there like fully.
She's gonna be a dog. She's gonna be a dog.
But I'm saying that he will specifically though be out there being like the most supportive, competitive girl dad of all time. Like he's that guy, right? Yeah. Okay, deal.
Like he'll make the other daughter cry after his daughter takes the ball away from him, pushes him to the floor, and goes, ah! And then he'll be like, "That's my girl." It's gonna cause conflict all around the Del Mar AAU circuits.
I can only see it now. She goes back to Country Day and takes all of his records, because there weren't that many.
I was saying, what records has he got?
Exactly. Yo, low key though, if the genes skip a generation, his kids will be a beast because his mom is like one of the most decorated CIF badminton players of like section history. Individuals and double titles everywhere, all throughout the record book.
She's like Morris Williams.
Yes. Well, and she did it for my school, which is hilarious. I think that's funny as heck, is that he did it. You know, the La Jolla Country Day La Jolla thing is an actual non-rivalry, but it's a rivalry between me and Tommy. Like, we're the only two people in the entire world that view those two schools as being rivals. It is delightful. This is the happiness that we needed to end on. So I will say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check out what we got going on. Congratulations to Mandela Tobin committing to go spend 4 years watching good basketball at Duke. I mean, he's also going to play football there, but he's going to go spend 4 years watching good basketball. Got a ton of love for you guys. We'll talk to you soon.